Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Hope for Society. Okay, don't sleep. Wake up. You're sleeping? Wake up. Okay. So today's video is going to be about 5 simple ways to live a happier life. I decided to make this video because I feel like there's just so many unhappy people. I mean, myself included. You know, I'm not always like the happiest person, but I do have a level of self-awareness that can allow me to kind of like recenter, and I can see where, you know, I need to fix. So, you know, I'm not perfect, just wanted to put that disclaimer out there. My life could obviously improve. I'm sure all of us could. If we're not improving, then what are we doing? So number 1, understanding how to reset/recharge. So I'm gonna keep all these concepts pretty simplistic just for the, you know, purpose of this video. I don't want to drag it on too long. If you have any personal questions, you can always reach me at my Instagram or Twitter, Hope for Society. It's gonna be right there. How to reset, recharge? Well, first of all, you have to understand that we are all energetically based beings, meaning that we release energy and we absorb energy. So it basically falls into 2 categories. I mean, they vary in how they look. You have your extroverts and then you have your introverts. And to keep it very simplistic, introverts, myself included, they reset/recharge by being alone, because introverts tend to be the ones that absorb their surroundings at a much greater level than extroverts, and they gain their energy from being alone in their comfort of their own energy without any interruptions. This could even mean like other people. This could even be technology. This could even be thoughts. You know, you have to really purify everything external, because we are an energetic field that either absorbs or repels. And, you know, when we're absorbing a lot of negative energy, you may start to feel drained, you may start to feel confused, and you may start to feel like you don't really understand why you're feeling the way you're feeling. So it's very important to know whether or not to establish whether or not you are an introvert or an extrovert. So introvert basically means you need time alone, or if you feel comfortable around a certain person where you know they don't take away from you, they just add to you, you know, that's cool too. Whatever you feel better doing is what you should do. So it may not always look like being completely alone. It's all about understanding and being aware of where you stand, whether or not you're an introvert or an extrovert, and what it means to recharge and reset. Because when you get overwhelmed, you don't produce, you don't function, you don't feel your best. So if you want to feel your best and be a greater asset to others around you, then it's important to understand what it is that you personally need, okay? Then you have your extroverts. Extroverts, they get their energy from being around people. Neither of the two are good or bad. So extroverts, they get their energies from being around other people. And, you know, whether that's going out and having a good time or going to a concert and feeling all the energy, like some people or other people just need to be around other people or to be in a group, like a book club or parties or, you know, gatherings where a lot of people come together, they share bonding. You know, I don't want to make it sound like introverts, you should not isolate. There's a difference between isolation and solitude. You should seek your solitude when you need to, but don't isolate. So, you know, either even whether or not you are an extrovert or introvert, you should always have some balance, because at the end of the day, we all do need each other. And to seek solitude is one thing, but then to take it to the extreme of isolation, which I've done before, it's not, we need each other. So whether or not you're an extrovert or an introvert, we still all need each other. But extroverts, they need that aspect to recharge, to regenerate, to, feel better, to feel good, to feel involved, to feel reciprocated feelings, to the whole idea of communion, for a lot of people that does recharge you. Although I do believe that no matter whether or not you are an introvert or an extrovert, some alone time to understand who you are as a person is always warranted, and it's always, I would say recommended. So, and as for the introverts, it's always recommended to get around people, to don't isolate. Solitude, cool, don't isolate. And then you don't know how to interact with other people, and you get socially awkward, and who wants to do that? Nobody, okay? Yeah, understand where your energetic rejuvenation comes from, introvert or extrovert. Moving on. Understanding that you can only control one thing. You can't control circumstances. You can't control other people. You can't control outcomes. You can't control Mother Nature. You can't control how people would view you. You can't control how people are going to talk about you. Control anything but your own mind, your own thoughts. So why do I say this leads to a happier life? Because when you realize that not only should you not try to control external situations, it just brings a lot of stress to even think about how can you control, when you have fear or anger, or which are all normal things to feel. It's shedding light on the fact that you feel like you can control something, that you can alter your external situation by reacting a certain way in hopes that it's going to change the scenario. It's not. You can only control how you think. That is the only thing in this world that you can control. And once you realize that you can control only that and that alone, it just melts away all these other seemingly once important aspects of our lives that we can now let go and let flow. Everything happens for a reason. I truly, truly believe that everything happens for a reason. So don't get caught up on trying to control anything outside of yourself. You can only control the thoughts that you produce, and understand that your thoughts create your world. So, it's very, very important, and it's very hard in the very beginning to have to constantly monitor your own thoughts, because it feels very forced, artificial, and not normal. And then that's only because you haven't been doing it. We've been, working on this robotic kind of just very shallow based level, where we feel we have a sense of control over our life, and really we don't. I mean, we can control the way we think, and in fact that can manifest everything that we truly want. But most of the time we're not thinking in the sense of how can I change the scenario with my own thought processes, because it takes a lot of self-control to do so. Just getting the notion out of your head that you care what people think. Stop caring what people think, because people are going to think whatever it is that they want to think. And if you let it bother you, then you're letting it control you. We think by worrying so much about how things are playing out, we think we're administering some sort of control over our life, but really we're not. We are letting those things control us because we're letting it affect us. We're letting it bother us. We're letting it consume our imagination. Instead of imagining a better world, we're imagining why these things are happening to us. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because you're never going to be able to get what you want by thinking and feeling those things. Like, you just aren't. So once you realize, like, cancel all of that, just forget about all of that, just focus on what it is you want, and constantly, it's like you got to bring it back, because we all fall off. Every single one of us. None of us are perfect, but we're imperfectly perfect. That's what makes the human experience so beautiful, is that we have the ability to come back to the light, come back to love, come back to centeredness, come back to just being enough and being in the moment and just moving forward, and understanding that there is nothing you can control but your own thoughts. And in fact, once you realize that your thoughts can control your life, or they do control your life, because they do, your current lifestyle, your current circumstances, your current manifestations of your world around you is a product of all the thoughts that you've been thinking up until this point. So if you want to change anything, change your thoughts. Really. Really. That is the secret. Okay? Number 3. Understanding that love is the fundamental basis in which all things flow. So I'm going to keep this very simple, because it's actually it could be a whole video, in itself. I believe love is the answer. Love, no matter what, is the answer. And it's so much easier to surrender to love than it is to fight hate, to embrace war, to segregate, to divide, it's so much easier to just come into our natural state, because I do believe our natural state is love, and I do believe that the next stage of our human evolution is love and emotional intelligence, and understanding that moving into a area of love, even love for people that you never thought you could feel love for, understanding that we're all here together, understanding that, none of us are better than any of us, understanding that we need each other to fulfill what it is that this world desperately needs, which is communion, connection, and restoration, and understanding these things. It's it takes so much more energy to hate someone, to think negative thoughts, to frown, to do whatever. It takes so much more out of you to be negative than it does to be positive. It doesn't have to be a romantic kind of love. It doesn't have to be, it could be a friendship-based love. It could be a platonic-based love. It could be a maternal love, fraternal love. It could be any kind of love, It could be love for a stranger, because as much evil and hate as there is present, because it's very present. It's very present. I'm not going to lie and say that it doesn't exist, but you can choose to see things differently. You can choose to see things in a better way. So love lets things flow. Understanding love is the fundamental basis in which all things flow is going to lead you to a happier life. Promise. Okay. Number 4. Understanding that you are enough. Understanding that you are enough. Now, this goes back to love, but it's self-love. It's understanding that no matter what you do or don't do, you can never externally and artificially add value to yourself, because everything that you are is already within you. Everything that you want to be is already here. You are already those things. You may not be walking in that perspective. You may not be acting that way. You may not even feel that way, but it's there. You just have to access it. We are all just, we come from a society that says you're not pretty unless you wear this lipstick, okay? Or you would be smarter if you use this pen, or go to this school and you'll be looked at as a more reputable, like, academic scholar. And there's nothing wrong with makeup. There's nothing wrong with wanting nice things. There's nothing wrong with wanting to go to a prestigious school. There's nothing wrong with wanting external things. But you have to understand that they will never, ever contribute to your internal value, to your internal, self. Because outside of this body, we are all so mystical beings that have everything that we need to succeed, everything that we need to prosper. We are enough just by being us. There is no one like you. Like, there's just no one in this world that can replicate what you can replicate, Understanding that you are enough, you have to know and be conscious that no matter what you're chasing, it's never going to be anything that's going to be so intrinsic in yourself, that's going to make you any more than what you already are. Because you already are these things. So believe that and understand that, and stop seeking validation from other people's opinions, or when we're seeking something outside of ourselves, we're seeking, a love from others that we are unable to feel ourselves. It's not that we don't have it within us. It's like we're unable to feel it because we ourselves don't feel like we're enough. And it's a very sad phenomena. And, I just want to say that understanding that you are enough just as is, just the way you are, will lead you to a happier life. Fifth and final point of how to live a happier life. Understanding you have a gift. Use it for maximum happiness. So I personally believe that each and every one of us, our true life purpose is to, 1, find our purpose, 2, use our gift to manifest our purpose, 3, share our gift with the world. I feel like the only way to really tap into this happiness that's available to all of us that we are, we seem to be disconnected from, it's you have a gift that only you can bring to fruition. Only you. It doesn't matter if you're a writer, a janitor, a housemaid. It doesn't matter if you're the president. It doesn't matter if you're a businessman or a woman. It doesn't matter if you are trying to be an artist or a singer or whatever the case may be. Your gift, you can have 5 other people right next to you with the same lifestyle, the same gift, the same whatever, but only you can bring it to fruition the way that you're supposed to do so. Acting out of a place of inefficiency and insufficient funds, when really there's enough to go around. You have to understand that your happiness is based off of what it is that your gift is. So to find your gift, you just have to understand what it is that brings animation to your life, that brings your soul to the forefront, that you just feel like you can do this forever and bring abundance, bring prosperity, and it's effortless almost for you. It's not going to be hard without hardships, but it's definitely effortless, and it's definitely something you love, something you enjoy, something people tell you all the time, hey, you're so good at this, and only you can bring it to life. So find what your gift is, sit, meditate, Understand that only you can bring this gift, only you can do it the way you know how. Just go for it. Go for it. Like, understand that that gift is going to bring you everything that you've ever imagined possible. So figure out what your gift is, bring it to light, bring it to the world, share it with the world, and watch your life just change, and watch you just become such a happier person. Working a 9 to 5 and just coming home and watching TV is like, it's societal norm, but it's nowhere near what you have. You have to embark on a journey of awakening and self-discovery. You just have to, you know. Life is meant to be lived, but not just lived, but lived magically and wonderfully and beautifully and happily. Once you feel too good to be true, you know you're in the right area, and you just have to keep on going. So find your gift, use it, and use it to change the world and make the world a better place. So those are my 5 simple ways to live a happier life. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back with more videos.